What's going on, freaks? Yeah, Blazers. Ah, man, I thought they were going to do it. Started the game off. Immediately, it was like 12-2. Down behind by 10. Then I got worse and worse and worse, and eventually we got down by 27 or 29 points. I can't remember what it was. But then, with about 6 minutes to go left in the game, we had cut it to, I think, 9 or 8 or something like that. So we were actually in the game, and then just, you know, didn't work out. Oh well. Maybe next year, huh? Maybe next year. I had this other cold case that I was going to go over, but Lisa V sent me one. I was kind of shocked that I had never covered it before, so figured I'd go over that one. Yeah, because there's a solving of it, but you know, we can look at it and go back in time, and then it's kind of interesting stuff that was said in the press conference. Alright, so Cindy Wanner, or Wanner, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but W-A-N-N-E-R is her name. I've got this massage thing on my back, so you might hear the squeaking, like, eh, eh. Alright, here we go, here we go. Now, police are investigating a possible kidnapping. Police are investigating the mysterious disappearance of a 35-year-old woman. This is back in 1991. November. Let's see. Yeah, 1991 November. It said, we're investigating it as a kidnapping, said Inspector Johnny Smith of the Placer County Sheriff's Office. The police are looking for Cindy K. Wanner. She is described as 5'8" and 135 pounds. She has brown hair and hazel eyes. Police were notified of Wanner's disappearance by Wanner's husband. So Wanner on Monday was cleaning her sister's home on the, I guess we can put that in there, 8200 block. Let's see. I have a lot of the other stuff in here, but Auburn, 8200, Auburn, and then it's like dash, Folsom Boulevard, yeah, Granite Bay, California, maybe? That's probably, it sounds about right. Yep, because that's in Placer County. It's got to be it. So somewhere on this street, she was, let's see, cleaning her sister's home. There we go. I wonder if I can, because I found her, I think. Maybe I didn't. I didn't find her and been verified. Yeah, this thing's making too much noise. It's like cranky and crackly. But hey guys, while you're watching, if you want to help support the channel, we've only got today and tomorrow as our last days before our donation night. I know it's kind of late doing the show, but it's still a show nevertheless. Yeah, police are looking for Cindy K. Wanner. She's 5'8", 135 pounds. Wanner on Monday was cleaning her sister's house located on the 8200 block of Auburn Folsom Boulevard. She was last seen at 12:30 p.m. feeding her 1-year-old daughter in the kitchen in a high chair Everything appeared to be normal, Smith said. About 45 minutes later, Wanner's husband arrived to find the baby girl crying in the high chair. Hey, thanks, Forgetful Mandy. Cindy Wanner was gone, Smith said. The case is bizarre to police because there was no indication of a struggle. Wanner's shoes and car also were left behind, Smith said. We're going to be searching in the area today, Smith said, using the county search and rescue team. Police were at the scene Monday checking for fingerprints. However, the case is a complete mystery. We just don't know what happened to her, he said. Anyone with information is asked to call the sheriff's office. So this is in Placer County. It's actually the same county where we, interestingly, just the other day did that Doe case out of here. I think it was Immigrant Gap County Doe. Was like right up in that same area. Kind of makes you wonder now. I want to take a look at that. Yeah, they almost came back. It's pretty good effort to get sort of back into the game. And then it was just a little too late, and then energy ran out. A couple of those guys should have been playing the whole series. Alright, so here we go again. This is November 27th. A 35-year-old woman who disappeared from her sister's home in exclusive Granite Bay was apparently kidnapped, the Placer County Sheriff's Department said Tuesday. Cindy Wanner was cleaning her sister's custom-built home Monday afternoon when she vanished, leaving behind her jacket, her shoes, her car, and her 1-year-old daughter. Though there is almost no evidence, the Placer County Sheriff's Department believes Wanner was kidnapped between 12:30 p.m. and 1:15 p.m. Monday, between the time her sister and brother-in-law, Susan and Phil Rye, left her and her husband, Bob Wanner, arrived. Between the time her sister and brother-in-law left her and her husband when that's just shitty English right there. Now let me look something up so we can get the precise address here. So that's kind of an unusual name. Let's see. Phil Rye. And this is in Granite Bay, California. And I guess he could be pretty old at this point. Yeah, 84, that sounds about right. Maybe. Yeah, let me see. And what was the other person's name? Susan. So if he has a wife named Susan, then this is it. Thanks, Jim Long.
Tony also speaks shitty English.
Okay, Granite Bay, California. Oh, that's it. Boom. That's crazy. That's the address. Watch this. It's going to be right in this area when I put it in. So we have now we know the precise house. There it is, right there. Isn't that cool how you can just find stuff like that? It's not in the articles, but... Philip Rye. Brother-in-law. Alright, so that's the house that she was cleaning right there. Yeah, you probably can only see it if you... Maybe it's in a... like a gated community there? Yeah, it looks like it. So, really nice area. That house right there. Thanks, Jim Long. Okay. So it said, let me see if I can read that again. Between the time her sister and brother-in-law arrived. Susan, man, maybe. Between the time her sister and brother-in-law, Susan and Phil Rye, left her and her husband, Bob Warner, arrived. Wow. Bob Warner was accompanied by the couple's 4-year-old daughter, Carly Rose Wanner, said Placer Sheriff Captain Marvin Jackintu? Wow. Bob Wanner is a truck driver for the Hayward-based company and has Mondays off, relatives said. The Wanners moved to Rancho Cordova from Denver about a year and a half ago when they both lost their jobs, said Cindy Wanner, eldest sister, Elaine Den, 47. Den described her sister as a very religious woman and devoted mother with no enemies. This is the Twilight Zone. Nothing like this could happen in a million years, Den said. I kept thinking that I'm going to wake up and none of this will have happened. On Tuesday, about 30 deputies and volunteers, aided by dogs and a helicopter, searched the neighborhoods and undeveloped land near the Rye house, but found no signs of the woman. Wanner is described as 5'5", 135 pounds, with brown hair, hazel eyes. She wears glasses and was last seen in blue jeans and a bright pink sweater. Sheriff investigators are asking for anyone who may have seen anything suspicious in the area to call a number. Family members say that Wanner has never... Let's see. 1, 2, before this one. Never disappeared before. I think there's a sick person out there, Den said as she fought back tears. She would never, ever leave her baby here and walk out without her shoes and her car. Wanner's brother-in-law, Phil Rye, 51, agreed. We definitely believe that there is some kind of foul play, he said. Wanner, taupe-colored vinyl purse was gone, but there was no sign of a struggle, Jackintu said. Investigators believe, so what was that? Yeah, there's no sign of a struggle. So basically, she was just removed. Investigators believe neither she nor her husband have had any criminal trouble or problems with people who might want to retaliate, he said. Asked if Bob Wanner was suspected, I said no comment. Asked if Bob Wanner was a suspect, he said no comment. Bob Wanner was not available for comment Tuesday night, but family members said he and his wife had a solid marriage. Cindy Wanner had been cleaning the $320,000 home, 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom house in the 8200 block of Auburn Folsom Road that the Ryes had moved into 6 weeks earlier. She was, hey, thanks Lisa Valenzuela. She was paid to clean the house on Monday, Phil Rye said. Rye said he and his wife left Wander at the house at about 12:30 p.m. Just over a half hour later, Bob Wanner said he arrived at the house. Wanner was carrying a load of wood from Rye's old house in Rancho Cordova and had just picked up the Wanner's 4-year-old daughter from the Capital Christian Center Day School. Let's see where that is. Capital Christian Center. Is that it right there? There's no, I don't know, does that seem reasonable? Hold on. 16 miles, I guess, you know. All right, got that in there. Warner told police that he rang the doorbell and there was no answer. So after he picked up his daughter, brought her back to this house that his wife was cleaning. He said he heard the sound of his infant crying, his infant daughter crying. Found the front door unlocked and entered to find his wife was not in the house. 1-year-old Ashley Warner was at the dining room table, much as she had been when Rise left. When the Rise left. So like they left at 12:30, and that means Cindy never even had time to like do something else. You know, like they were still in you know, whatever you were doing at the dining room table, eating or whatever, right? So 1-year-old Ashley Warner was at the dining room table, much as had been when the Rise left. And those are the people whose house it is. Phil Rye phoned the house at about 1:15 p.m. to talk to Cindy, and Bob Warner picked up the telephone. So yes, that would mean that between 12:30 and 1:15 is when this happened. He asked me where Cindy was. I thought maybe she'd walked around the house or something, Rye said. We're just hoping that she's still alive, he said, but there's no reason to think anything criminal was done. There's nothing in that house that was damaged, and she would have put up a fight for that baby. Well, maybe that's what the killer used was, hey, if you come with me, I won't do anything to your baby. You know, at gunpoint. That would make sense. Use the child as your leverage to get out of there with her. Pastor Glenn Cole of the Capital Christian Center said that when he arrived at the Rise house Monday, Bob Warner was lying in the backyard, his face in the dirt, sobbing uncontrollably. He was beside himself, Cole said. Cole said that he saw the Warners at the Capital Christian Center Sunday night for the church's annual Thanksgiving Choir Festival. Cole said that Cindy had talked to church officials Sunday about possibly getting some help finding a job. A couple of weekends ago, Cindy had also collected a box of clothing from the church so that she could put on a garage sale to help pay for an ear operation that Ashley needed. The girl was scheduled for surgery Tuesday, but the procedure was postponed. All right, guys, if you're out there, if you could help support the channel, that would be awesome. We're currently, well, I guess, it's such a late show. I wouldn't blame you if you didn't want to support the channel. I'm having a drink because the Blazers are done for the year. What do you mean private schools are usually farther away? What does that even mean? You can live right next to one. All right, well, cool. Thanks, Lori. There's a support button right down below where you can send in super chats. All right, let's see. Then the FBI entered the search. It says, at first, sheriff officials listed the incident as a disappearance by Wednesday, although no ransom notes had been received. Investigators said flatly that they considered it a kidnapping. I know, but that doesn't mean anything, Lisa. I mean, you can live next to one, too. You know, like somebody could live, let's go to the private, it's right there. You know, all it means is you lived far away from your private school. You know, that's what that means. Sheriff Don Nunez said members of the missing woman's family said her disappearance was out of her character and deviation from her normal behavior. Nunez said 20 telephone calls, including possible sightings of Wander, had been received by the sheriff's office. All leads are being followed, he said. However, none of this point has proven significant. None at this point has proven significant. FBI Special Agent Bill Barkley said his agency was assisting in the investigation because of the possibility that Wander had been taken to another state, making it a federal crime. We have agents working on it. Nunez urged anyone with information to contact police. Investigators believe Wander was kidnapped after 12:30 and before 1:15. Between the time his sister and brother-in-law, Susan and Phil Ride, left and her husband, truck driver Bob Wander, arrived to that house. All right, this is December 15th. Okay, and then look at right here. And then a body believed to be that of a Rancho Cordova woman who disappeared from her sister's home in exclusive Granite Bay was found Saturday in a brushy, mountainous area about 3 miles northeast of Forest Hill. Let's see, where's Forest Hill? But hey guys, if you could please help support the channel, that would be great. Oh, so over here, that's Forest Hill. And then it said the body Saturday in a brushy mountainous area 3 miles north of Forest Hill. The body, clad in a brassiere, was discovered at 3:30 p.m. about 50 yards from the roadway by a quail hunter, according to Placer County Sheriff's Department. It was found near the tiny community of Baker Ranch. Okay. Okay, here we go. So right over here, and then 50 yards. So somewhere around in here is where her body was found. You know. Is there any street view out here? Oh my God. Can you believe that? Yeah, so it kind of looked like, you know, looks like this. So somewhere out here, there's Forest Hill, and then let's see, I bet that's probably 3 miles. Yeah, 3.95. So it's probably actually, I bet you, like right around in here, and then 50 yards, like in that area. So it's near Baker Ranch, but it's also 3 miles from Forest Hill. So probably if you measured it, went up like that. Yeah, it's 3 about right there. So maybe something like maybe here. Cindy Wander, 35, was cleaning her sister's custom-built house nearly 3 weeks ago when she vanished, leaving behind her jacket, her shoes, her car, and her 1-year-old daughter. There had been no apparent evidence of violence. Kelly Price, a machinist who lives in Forest Hill, about, let's see, where I go to page 14. Okay, this might be where we can get the precise information. Yeah. Shoot. That was on page 1. I know it's in there somewhere. Okay, 18. There's 14. No. I want to get the rest of that. A14. That doesn't look like it. It's A3, A8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So that doesn't look like it. I know I saw it earlier though, that's the thing. It was, I went back to get to that page. That sucks. Alright, anyway, let's go to the next one. The 35-year-old mother of 2 vanished November 25th between 12:30 and 1:15. Here, let me go back. I gotta find this one. This was on December 15th. Okay, so there's the second half of it. Wow, that was on page 2. Okay, look at that. It says body found, that says go to page 14. Well, it just so happens the next page is A14. But then I found that other A14 that wasn't that one. Alright, so let's see what that last sentence said. Kelly Price, a machinist who lives in Forest Hill, about 20 miles east of Auburn, was hunting quail in areas he had hunted throughout his life when he came up on the woman's body. Hey, any chance you guys could help support the channel tonight? Hey, we got a couple. Hey, we got Forgetful Mandy put in 5 memberships. Didn't even see. I thought that was. I didn't even see that it was 5. Thank you. But if you guys could help support the channel, that would be awesome. I know it's kind of late, but it'd be great. Even if we get to like 40%, that'd be good. We're currently at 35% of 40%. I was the last person in the world who wanted to come across something like that, Price24 said in a telephone interview. I was just out walking. I feel really bad for the family. I was thinking about that little baby. She'll never know her mother. That is what hit me. Identification was not conclusive, but sheriff's officials said in a statement that preliminary viewing of the body indicated there was some consistency with Cindy Warner. The statement said that a preliminary examination indicated tattoos on the body. It's my understanding they were similar to the tattoos described on Warner, said Placer Lieutenant Ray Malberg. Warner had been described as having a rose tattoo on her chest and a heart tattoo with a ribbon near her buttocks. Price said the sheriff deputy who took the report said that he was 99% sure of the identity. Authorities reported that a cause of death was not immediately apparent, and there was no evidence found indicating she had been killed at the scene. The body was left at the site so that criminalists from the State Department of Justice could comb the area for evidence. I wonder if Paul Holes was working back then. Bob Warner, the woman's husband, declined comment on Saturday night. Cindy Warner was kidnapped between 12:30 p.m. and 1:15 p.m. on November 25th, between the time her sister...
It's impossible to keep carrots around here.
let's see, between the time her sister-in-law, they left, and then her husband got there. At first, sheriff officials listed the incident as a disappearance, but investigators said later they considered it a kidnapping. Let's see what they have up here. So Baker Ranch, body found. So that's kind of almost exactly how we have it. So if you go up in the air like that, there's Baker Ranch. And on their little miniature map here, if you look at it, I mean, there's Baker Ranch here, and then to the left is where the body is. That's kind of how we have it. So it could be even around this corner over here a little bit. Let's put it right. Let's put it where I had it before. Something like that. Thanks, Jim Lawn. Yeah, thanks again up there, Forgetful Mandy. I'm forgetful myself. All right. Gonna go to the 22nd. She's found nude and strangled. Okay, so now you know that now this is like a serial killer kind of situation. Although you wouldn't really know that. You would probably think, oh, wow, it could just be some guy that, you know, an ex or somebody that liked her and she, you know, rebuked him or something. The 35-year-old mother of two vanished November 25th at 12:30 p.m. and 1:50 p.m. in between that time while she cleaned her sister's $320,000 home. There was no sign from the beginning. The case baffled investigators. There was no sign of a struggle at the house. Warner left behind her shoes, jacket, and strangest of all, her 1-year-old daughter, who was found crying in a high chair. But family and friends described her as a deeply religious, devoted mother who would never leave her children. They have to have threatened her child to have her leave calmly. There you go. That's what I was saying. There was no other way. She wouldn't just leave her baby like that, said Michelle Barber, a friend from Thornton. Warner's body was found clad only in a brassiere. The autopsy showed she was strangled, Sheriff Donald Nunez said. Officials believe she had been dead less than a week, but they had no clues to what happened to her during the 10 days before she was killed. Wow, so that means she was kept alive for 10 days somewhere. There were no marks on her body besides those caused by a rope or cord used to kill her. To eliminate themselves as suspect, Warner's husband, Bob, and a brother-in-law, Phil Rye, voluntarily took and passed polygraph tests. There are no suspects. We have absolutely no leads, the sheriff said. The investigation has very little direction at this point. We're just in hopes that someone will call who may have seen her or has something to report that will point us in the right direction. When the Warners moved to Rancho Cordova, a small town near Sacramento, they were excited about the future. After more than 7 years in Thornton, their luck turned bad when Guaranteed Products closed, leaving Bob Warner without a job. But things began to look up after he got a job as an engineer in California, and Cindy became pregnant with their second child. Here they just weren't cutting it, said Richard Barber, a former neighbor. They thought by going there it was going to change the pace and they'd have a better lifestyle. While living next door for 3 years, Barber and his wife, Michelle, became close friends with the Warners. She was my best buddy in the whole world. I can't believe she's gone, Michelle Barber said. I talked to her just 2 or 3 days before she was missing. This article is 1991, December 22nd. And there's another one, and this last one is from 1994. It says, break may come in 91 kidnapping slang. It was shortly after noon, 3 years ago today, when 35-year-old Cindy Warner vanished from her sister's home in Granite Bay. She left behind her shoes, her car, and her jacket, and her 11-month-old daughter. Ashley was found unattended, crying in a high chair near the dining room table. Less than 45 minutes had elapsed between the time Warner was last seen by her sister and brother-in-law and the moment her husband arrived to find her gone. There seemed to be no rational explanation for her disappearance, but investigators quickly became convinced that the devoted mother of two had met with foul play. Everyone's fear turned to grief 19 days later when a quail hunter found Warner's body clad only in a brassiere, face down among the trees off Forest Hill Road east of Auburn. East of Auburn. Yeah, see, that's Forest Hill Road. So I think I'm pretty close. Let me see, east of Auburn. There's Forest Hill. I don't know. I'm not sure what the hell they were talking about when they said Auburn. Alright guys, if you can help support the channel, that would be awesome. Thank you. We're only out today and tomorrow, and then our donation night. Let's see. She had been strangled, and an autopsy revealed that she had been alive for up to 2 weeks. Wow. After her disappearance. Today, 3 years to the day after the crime, the murder of Cindy Warner is back on the front burner at the Investigation Division of the Placer County Sheriff's Department. We have some new leads. We're reviewing all the evidence, and we're in the process of re-interviewing witnesses, Sheriff Detective William Summers said Wednesday. Hello, Stephanie. Summer wouldn't be specific about the nature of the new investigative leads, but he said people have come forward with names of individuals in 3 surrounding counties, and we're following up on them. We'll be interviewing a number of people over the holidays. And if a suspect turns up, investigators may have a surprise up their sleeves. According to Summer, detectives have gathered but have been withholding from the public disclosure significant pieces of evidence that at some point could be used to tie the killer to Warner's slaying. Even without a suspect, some certainties have emerged from the investigation, Summers said. We are confident none of her family, close associates, or friends or acquaintances were involved, Summers stated. This was a stranger-type abduction, and the kidnapping and the strangulation of Warner is not in any way connected to the abduction and strangulation last year of Sherilyn Hockey, a 5th grade teacher at Eureka School, who was killed just before Halloween. We're sure about that, Summer declared. Well, and that probably because they had DNA. We're going to B4. Page B4. Just, oh man. This is B, and then you just go to the next page over, and we're already at, well, that says B3. Then the next page is B9. So, I don't know where it is. That's D4. I don't think that's it. Nobody out there? Come on, you guys. We need the support for the channel, even though we got a small number of people here. Let's see if we can try to get somewhere tonight. We got just tonight and tomorrow until our donation night. Alright, that was the... So that was it right there. And then, you know, I guess they've probably had this person's DNA. And so, guess what? They've finally found this person after all these years. And here's the press conference.
Afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for being here this afternoon so we can share this major breakthrough in a 34-year-old cold case. We're here to discuss the 1991 kidnap and murder of Cindy Warner out of a home in Granite Bay. Arguably, this is one of the most heinous, notorious cold cases we have here in Placer County. As Elise mentioned, it occurred on November 25th, 1991. She disappeared from the home. Hours later, her 11-month-old was found still strapped to a high chair, crying. Her remains were found approximately 3 weeks later in the Forest Hill area, where pathologists at the time feel like she was kept alive for some time after she went missing. She hadn't been dead and left in the Forest Hill area for 3 weeks. Now, I'm pleased to report that last Friday, detectives from the Placer County Sheriff's Office, members of the cold case investigation team with the assistance of the Bullhead City Police Department in Arizona, arrested the monster responsible for this crime. And he's identified as 64-year-old James Lawhead Jr. Now, we hope that this arrest will help bring some justice and closure to Cindy Warner's family. But as I'm going to talk about the case and the circumstances about the case, we actually have been looking for Mr. Lawhead for quite some time. And we were just preparing to ask for the public's help. We created a video that was going to go out this week to ask for the public's help in helping us find Mr. Lawhead before we got this lead and arrested him on Friday. So I think it would be best if we showed the video now, and it could kind of tell the story about Cindy Warner's case and how this case has transpired, and then I'll add to it after the video.
Cindy Warner was a married woman with 2 young children. She was kidnapped in the middle of the day in November of 1991. She just disappeared from the face of the earth. She was found strangled to death and found in a very remote area.
Granite Bay is the kind of place where some still leave doors and blinds open.
Just something that didn't happen in Granite Bay. It was shocking.
After more than 3 decades, we believe we know who is responsible for the murder of Cindy Warner.
Cindy Warner had gone to her sister's house to clean her house and took her 11-month-old child with her. Around lunchtime, she had put her child in a high chair at a kitchen table. Cynthia's husband arrived at the house with their 4-year-old daughter and found the 11-month-old.
The baby was still here in the same seat, still crying with the Cheerios.
Cindy Warner, devoted mother of 2, has disappeared without a trace.
Leaving her shoes, her coat, and her car at the scene.
The search pattern has fanned out in all directions from this Granite Bay command post. So far, they haven't found a thing.
She was found 3 weeks later, 300 feet off the roadway in a wooded area.
Investigators say the killer made no attempt to hide the body. Up to now, no tracks or clues have been found.
Police hope samples taken from the body will show them something.
Over the years, a huge amount of work was done on this case.
We had submitted numerous items and just kept getting blanks. And it was actually the last item we had submitted. Thankfully, due to the new technology, Contra Costa's forensic lab was finally able to get us a hit.
We've identified this individual as James Lawhead Jr. He was a sex offender, spent some time in prison for some sex crimes.
In 1980, he broke into the home of a grandmother and beat her unconscious and sexually assaulted a young child.
Was sentenced to 19 years in prison, was released after 11 years. This crime was committed 10 months after he was released. In 2005, he was arrested for a weapons charge, told an acquaintance that he believed he was going to go back to prison for the rest of his life and that he was going to disappear. And shortly after that, completely disappeared.
This man has been on the run for a long time. He has obviously taken great steps to avoid responsibility, to get away with the crimes he's committed. Cindy Warner and her family deserve answers. They waited for 30-something years. And now it's time to bring this individual to justice and to hold him account for what he did to his family.
So, coming off of that video, I think gives you guys a good picture of this case. But as I stand here as the Placer County Sheriff, I couldn't be more proud of the hard work of the men and women off to my right, and never giving up on this case and continuing to leverage the emerging DNA technology as things evolve and solving this case. You know, as the video mentioned, once we identified James Lawhead as the suspect, it appeared that he just disappeared since 2005. And we explored all possibilities on what could have happened, whether he was still living under a fake identity, whether he'd left the country, or whether he was even deceased. And we checked records throughout the United States and Canada. But late last week, really an unsung hero in this case, there's many, is an analyst from the Scottsdale, Arizona Police Department. Our detectives reached out to other jurisdictions and other states who have permission to leverage facial recognition technology, and this analyst used the Department of Transportation database in Arizona and got a match on a photo of James Lawhead, and we quickly responded to the...
I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy that they got a facial recognition. I mean, that's wild. Especially when he could look so different from when they had him before.
Area with the Bullhead City Police Department and arrested him that same day. Now, I'd like to talk a little bit about James Lawhead's past, covered a little bit of it in the video, but that 1980 case where he was convicted is one of the most heinous crimes you'll read about. He broke into a home and beat a 71-year-old grandmother nearly to death, stating he thought he killed her. He then subsequently raped and sodomized the 11-year-old granddaughter. All that being said, he only served 11 years. And when he was sentenced, psychiatrists from the state classified him as a mentally disordered sex offender who was not amenable to treatment. Yet he was still released after 11 years and kidnapped and murdered Cindy Warner within a year of his release. Now, in 2002, it was in the area. He did have other contacts with law enforcement. He failed to register as a sex offender in Placer County, and he was arrested. His mugshot is over there off to my left. And then he had an outstanding weapons charge arrest from the city of Lincoln in 2005. And that is when we believe he assumed the identity of Vincent Reynolds, and he disappeared. Now, when he was arrested, we arrested him at the driveway of his home in Bullhead, Arizona. He did not resist. He has since been booked into the county jail in Mojave County in Arizona, where he's being held on charges of kidnapping, murder, and being a wanted sex offender. Our detectives flew out there immediately upon his arrest, thought he killed her. He then subsequently raped and sodomized the 11-year-old granddaughter. All that being said, He only served 11 years. And
Yeah, that's California for you, right there.
when he was sentenced, psychiatrists from the state
Oh, psychology.
classified him as a mentally disordered sex
yeah,
offender who was
he's-
not amenable to treatment.
He's
Yet he was
alright.
still released after 11 years and kidnapped and murdered Cindy Warner within a year of his release.
All right, good job, California. Good job.
Now, in 2002, it was in the area. He did have other contacts with law enforcement. He failed to register as a sex offender in Placer County, and he was arrested. His mugshot is over there off to my left. And then he had an outstanding weapons charge arrest from the city of Lincoln in 2005. And that is when we believe he assumed the identity of Vincent Reck.
Hey guys, is there any chance you guys could help support the channel tonight? I mean, I'm up here doing a show late, and it'd be great to have the support from the people watching, especially since we've only got today and tomorrow as the last normal days until our donation night. So if you guys could gift some channel memberships, etc. By the way, one thing I was going to show you guys today was right here. Check it out. This is from I think it's from Rain. I guess I got rid of their names, but it said, "Hey, I completely understand not being able to meet. I checked our records and your total giving is $33,247 from 54 gift, including your most recent gift of $500 at the end of April. On behalf of everyone at Rain," so it is Rain. That's violence against women. Appropriate for here. And survivors across the country, that you and your fan base, thank you to you and your fan base for your incredible support over the years. I'm also speaking with my team more about joining you on a video to thank you and the freaks for your generosity. See how cool it is? So can you guys please help support the channel tonight? All right, we got to keep moving forward. These kind of nights like this, we've had 6 of these where people are just like, yeah, screw you, Gray. You know, I need your guys' support when we do these shows, okay? We're at $35, and that just doesn't do it. We can't donate $33,000 when you have $35 on shows. So if you have the ability to, that would be fantastic.
Reynolds, and
anyways,
from the city of Lincoln in 2005. And that is when we believe he assumed the identity of Vincent Reynolds.
Yeah, Vincent Reynolds. So I went out and did what I do, you know. So we have, let's see. So James E. Nichols, and I don't want that to fall on deaf ears, you guys. We need to get this support going. You know, let's do it. One or two challenges tonight would be enough to get us to 40%. All right, we have the. So this is. I think this is the James Nichols here. No, I think that's a different one. What's one? Vincent. Oh, that's right. This is the real one. This is him. Hey, thank you. True Crime W6 something. Hey, I really appreciate it. Thank you. It's amazing in here. Some nights it's just so hard. All right, look at this. So I went to his. So this is him because I went to the court records. And that's how I wasn't sure, 100% certain until I went to the court records. And then when you go to the court records, I mean, look at these. Petty theft, and then sodomy with person under 14. That's probably that case. Prior code, you know, sexual assault with force and threat. Same thing there. With, you know, so this is him. That's his account right here. Okay, but then if you go to his addresses, I think one of the addresses that was sort of might be interesting would be like, where was he in like 90, right around that time frame. So right here would be a good one. It could even be, what month was that? So I think this one's the good one. So let's go ahead and throw that in there. Hey, thank you, Kim from Rochester. All right, here we go. Wow, so he lives in, okay, I already had that address. I had a pin on it. So this is where he lived at the time, and he lived in Placer County at the time of the homicide, right here. See that? I guess that's a little bit outside of Placer County. This is Placer County's right here. All right, but then he said the name of Vincent Reynolds. Look how crazy this is, you guys. So they say Vincent Reynolds, and then in this press conference, he mentions how he has a sister that lives in this small town out in the middle of nowhere in Las Vegas. So I thought, well, you know, let me see if I can find his sister. No luck. Then I found Vincent Reynolds, you know, the name that it's a fake name. It's not even his, right? And then I looked under address history, and then boom, look at that. This Bullhead City is where he's living. Look at that, 2022 to 2026. Bullhead City, Arizona is where he's living, and they said that his sister owned the property in Bullhead City in that press conference. So you go over there, and it's really close to the border of Nevada. So it's just right here in this just crappy home, you know, just totally nondescript. Like, this is just, I mean, who the hell would even, I mean, this is just in the middle of nowhere, really. This is like a desert. So this is the house he lives in right here. He might even be in that house right now. There's a car right there. That is the address. And look at this, just absolute garbage. You know, not to disparage the place, I'm just saying he's hiding from people. See, this is like this small town, but then Las Vegas isn't that far away. So, man, I wouldn't be surprised at all if over the years he was hunting and got victims from Las Vegas. You know, wouldn't shock me a bit. I think that he probably, you know, he could get like a sex worker, bring him down there. Yeah, I know, Kim, I'm showing it on the screen. Do you see what I'm showing it? I got it. Got it on the screen, yeah. All right, let's play this.
And he disappeared. Now, when he was arrested, we arrested him at the driveway of his home in Bullhead, Arizona. He did not resist. He has since been booked into the county jail in Mojave County in Arizona, where he's being held on charges of kidnapping, murder, and being a wanted sex offender. Our detectives flew out there immediately upon his arrest and served a search warrant, seizing numerous items of evidence from the home, including multiple loaded firearms staged throughout the house and a bag that had his clothes, $15,000 in cash, and a burner phone. Now, he will be brought back to Placer County to be held accountable for his crimes. And then also arrested in this incident is his sister, whose booking photo is down there on the far left, Terry Lawhead. She's 71-year-old Terry Lawhead, who resides in San Clemente, California. She was arrested for accessory, and we arrested her on Saturday the 25th in Lancaster County, South Carolina. Now, Terry was contacted numerous times over the last 20 years, including by the Placer County Sheriff's Office in search for her brother. The last contact we had with her was in March, where we explained to her exactly what her brother was wanted for and explained to her the circumstances in Cindy Warner's case. She still denied any knowledge, said she hadn't seen or heard based on the...
Oops, shit.
Analyst from the Scottsdale, from the city of Lincoln in 2005, and that is when we believe he assumed the identity of Vincent Reynolds.
Yeah, well, it's weird as I just saw it now. There's the Terry Lawhead, and so this would be that person. I guess she was arrested too, I guess. I looked that up earlier. It didn't seem to... Let's see if it actually has that same address in there. But hey, guys, let's try to get to. We need another 8 memberships to get to the 40% mark. Oh, look at that, Kissimmee, Florida. Guess that's where all the crazy people go. Yeah, that's weird. It's not in there. But apparently she owned that. Well, no, hold on. That's email. Let's see. Kissimmee. There it is. Bullhead City, 537. See, that's just everything that they're talking about is proven right here. Here's Terry. She owns 537 Havasu Lane in Bullhead City, Arizona. And that is where the fake name of Vincent Reynolds, this guy, watch this, the very first one at the top, 537 Havasu Lane, Bullhead City, Arizona. So that means his sister is allowing her brother to stay at the house using a fake name to hide from law enforcement. Right there. And this fake name lived in, it's weird. I mean, did he just take somebody else's identity at some point? I mean, because there's some of this goes back to 2001. There's no way he had that.
And he disappeared. Now, when he was arrested, we arrested him at the driveway of his home in Bullhead, Arizona. He did not resist. He has since been booked into the county jail in Mojave County in Arizona, where he's being held on charges of kidnapping, murder, and being a wanted sex offender. Our detectives flew out there immediately upon his arrest and served a search warrant, seizing numerous items of evidence from the home, including multiple loaded firearms staged throughout the house and a bag that had his clothes, $15,000 in cash, and a burner phone. Now, he will be brought back to Placer County to be held accountable for his crimes. And then also arrested in this incident is his sister, whose booking photo is down there on the far left, Terry Lawhead. She's 71-year-old Terry Lawhead, who resides in San Clemente, California. She was arrested for accessory, and we arrested her on Saturday the 25th in Lancaster County, South Carolina. Now, Terry was contacted numerous times over the last 20 years, including by the Placer County Sheriff's Office in search for her brother. The last contact we had with her was in March, where we explained to her exactly what her brother was wanted for and explained to her the circumstances in Cindy Warner's case. She still denied any knowledge, said she hadn't seen or heard from her brother in over 20 years and that he may have possibly been dead. When in fact, investigators later found out the home that Mr. Lawhead had been residing in Arizona was owned by his sister Terry, and they had been in some communication.
There you go. See, I just showed you that.
Aiding his escape.
I just showed you that.
So with that, at this point, I'd like to turn it over to my partner, who also has an investigator on our cold case investigation team, to talk a little bit about the prosecution moving forward, and that's Placer County District Attorney Morgan Geyer.
Good afternoon. Again, my name is Morgan Geyer, the Placer County District Attorney. Our office has charged Mr. Lawhead with 1 count of murder and 2 special circumstances, one for murder a rape during the commission of a murder and a kidnap during the commission of that murder, as well as an independent count of kidnapping. Needless to say, this is an incredible case, and I want to first start by commending Sheriff Wu and the men and women of the Sheriff's Office, specifically the cold case team. Justice, just because the passage of time, doesn't mean justice diminishes in importance. This family has suffered in anguish for 35 years, and they deserve some accountability. This was an enormous case that devastated a family and shook a community. I was in high school at the time. I didn't live far away. I remember my parents talking about this case. The entire community talked about this case and the Warner family. And for this day to occur represents that our investigators, our prosecutors, continue to work on these cases. Simply because the passage of time doesn't mean any importance is diminished. We harness new technology. We commit to good old-fashioned police work, and ultimately apprehended someone responsible for this crime. The legal process will unfold. It's still to be determined when we will see Mr. Lawhead here in Placer County, based on the extradition from Arizona. But we look forward to his arrival here so we can commence prosecution and give some measure of justice to the family and to the community. I don't use the word closure because I don't really think there is such a thing, but at least there can be accountability and some finality for the family as they begin to navigate the criminal justice process. So again, I want to thank our partners, the Sheriff's Office, for this incredible arrest, and we look forward to bringing Mr. Lawhead to justice as swiftly as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Morgan. So moving forward, we already know that under an assumed identity, Mr. Lawhead lived in the state of Washington, Oregon, and Arizona.
You live in Oregon.
Obviously, there is a lot of work to be done by our investigators to trace his movements over the last 20 years, also to see if he's been involved in any other crimes since then. So we're urging any other law enforcement agencies to check their cold case DNA against Mr. Lawhead's and to work with our investigators to piece together a timeline on any additional crimes that Mr. Lawhead could potentially be responsible for. And before I close and open up for questions, I really do have to give a lot of thank yous. The Sheriff's Office didn't do this in a vacuum, and we couldn't do it alone. First of all, like I said at the beginning, I couldn't be more proud of the hard work and dedication of the men and women to my right who really worked tirelessly to bring some sense of justice to the Warner family and hold Mr. Lawhead accountable.
That's where he lived.
My partner, District Attorney Morgan Geyer, and his office for their collaboration and partnership. The Laisha Boyden and the U.S. Marshal's Office for their assistance. Our Board of Supervisors and our County Executive's Office, honestly, we couldn't do what we do without the support, both for Morgan's shop and the Sheriff's Office, financially in our budgets, to provide top-notch law enforcement service and take cases like this and work them tirelessly to make sure we find justice for the victims. The Bullhead City Police Department in Arizona, obviously the Scottsdale Police Department, the Orange County Sheriff's Office, the Lancaster County Sheriff's Office in South Carolina, the Contra Costa County Sheriff's Office Crime Lab. We couldn't have done any of this without the assistance of all of those agencies. And then I think finally in closing, I have to point out that working cold cases is also a very expensive endeavor. It costs a lot of money going to a lot of these private labs to do this DNA testing.
That's
right.
right.
The Sheriff's Office, through the support of the county,
put over
has invested a lot of
$100,000
money in some of these tests. We had some initial success, and I've spoken about that success out in the community, and it has touched members of this community to stand up a Placer County Cold Case Foundation to raise funds to help investigate these crimes, and it was in fact donations from members of this Placer County community that paid for the testing that actually solved this case. So with that, we will open it up for a short question and answer, but I would ask that understand there's a lot of things unfolding right now, and this is an active investigation that will be prosecuted, so there may be a lot of things that we cannot answer. So with that, is there
he wasn't there too long ago.
Sheriff, your message today to the Warner family. Obviously, there's no closure and it doesn't bring her back, but what would you say to them more than 30 years after?
You know, nothing can bring back the loss of their loved one or even attempt to overcome the trauma that they've been through over the last 34 years. We hope this is a small step in the healing process for closure, and to bring justice to this case, and we're keeping them all in our thoughts and prayers.
Is the family still in the area?
They are not, but they have been kept informed throughout this case, and they're aware of the arrest.
Sheriff, is there any reason to believe that the suspect...
Maybe Nancy Guthrie,
Ms. Warner before this happened, or that they knew each other at all?
No.
And could you tell us when exactly he was identified as a suspect in the case?
We got a DNA match earlier this year. It hasn't been that long.
This question is for both of you, Sheriff and Lieutenant Geyer. What would you say within the system failed to allow this guy to be released and then commit this heinous crime? Where did it fail?
I don't want to become overly political.
Yeah, here it is. Just be honest, man. Screw this. Hey, like when he had his fake name, even with his fake ID and everything, whatever, his fake name, he had a driver driving under the influence back in 2016. So isn't that crazy? Like Ben Verified actually has his fake name as like a real name in Ben Verified, and then his real name had his original court records on there, but then there's this whole other identity that's sort of populating the databases. Isn't that wild? It's not like just some name that he was using like locally and some shit like that. Like literally, I mean, look at. This is Vincent Reynolds here. Look at this. It has 19 phone numbers, which is a red flag in my book. It has 16 emails, which is a red flag in my book. 16 different addresses. Anyway, some people move a lot. And then when, so that's what you have in here, which is really unusual to have 19 phone numbers and 16 email addresses. It's pretty wild. All right, I'll try one last attempt here, you guys. We need 7 channel memberships to get to 40% of the goal. That would be what I was trying to get at. I mean, even though it's it's not even close to the goal, it's like a third of what we normally try to do. But if we can get 7 channel memberships, it'll be at least a third.
I would say that newspaper article speaks for itself in that I think the justice system here in California is broken. It's probably more broken than it was then, that allowed Mr. Lawhead to get released after only serving 11 years. And we talk about elder parole and all the other things that are going on right now. But I could go on in that conversation for a long time. But honestly, I think today is about Cindy Warner, her family, and her memory. And
isn't that cool, Lisa Valenzuela? All the stuff that I went out and found after you just sent me that one, the link to the press conference. It's crazy. Like I found the house that the sister let him use, and then his actual real account, and then his fake name, his real name and his fake name. Real name had all the charges that we'd heard about back in 1980 something. And then we had the stuff, the records of where he's been on his fake name of Vincent Reynolds.
Don't want to become overly political at this time. I'd be more than happy to do some interviews later, as I'm sure the DA would, and talk about our thoughts on elder parole. Thank you.
The other homicide conviction that you got before, is that here in Fletcher County?
It was in Sacramento County. It was attempted homicide and rape and sodomy of an 11-year-old child.
Yeah, that was the under 14 that was in that one.
All right. See no other.
One more.
Yes, sir.
How much does it mean to the office to bring a resolution to this case that has been one of the most notorious cold cases in this region for more than a generation?
Yeah, I think this is why you pin the badge on. This is why you take the oath to serve in the first place. We've really made it a top priority since 2023 to put a lot of resources and financial effort into solving some cold cases, and we've done some phenomenal work. There are a couple cases that are probably the most heinous and the most impactful in our community. This is a case that, as I go speak in the community, I still get asked about. So to have this as a case that we were able to solve, I think means the world to all of us, and I think it's just it's very fulfilling that we can hopefully bring some sense of closure and justice to her family. Well, thank you all for being here today. I really appreciate your time.
Isn't that awesome? It just shows you, man, there's so many cases out there that are just right there. All these killers. This guy's a serial killer. There's no doubt about it. I have no doubt at all that he's either killed or, you know, assaulted other people over the years. That's what this guy does. Anybody that would literally go into some random person's home, like you're waiting and waiting and waiting. You must have been sitting outside waiting for the brother and sister-in-law to leave the house, and they leave at 12:30. Then you immediately go in there and you say, you pull out a gun probably and say, listen, I'll kill your daughter if you don't come with me right now. And the daughter's, you know, like little kid, 1 year old, sitting in a high chair. They're not going anywhere. So she goes out with you, gets in the car, and apparently she was alive for like 2 weeks somewhere. And he must have been, I mean, who knows what the hell she had to go through. Probably assaults, sexual assaults over and over and over again. And then when he was done, he goes, okay, I got to kill you now. I mean, what a nightmare that is. Hoping, being alive for those 2 weeks, hoping to live. And then he kills you. I mean, what a, jeez. This guy is the worst of the worst right here. And then they find her body. And she was strangled, etc. And they must have found DNA in there. And they identified him as being, you know, James Law, whatever the hell is, you know, I think it was Lawhead. James Lawhead Jr. And, but they knew who he was because of the identification. And then they, I guess what they knew he was from the identification, but they couldn't find him. But I guess they must have had some sort of indication where he was because they had his face. They know what he looks like, so they sent his face off to Arizona for facial recognition. Or maybe they sent it out everywhere, you know, and in Arizona tried it out, and they go, boom, we got him. This is where he lives. And it turns out that his sister owned the house that he was staying in. And they go up there and they arrest the guy. And they've arrested the sister for harboring a fugitive. So there you go, everybody. There you go. Hey, thanks, Lisa Valenzuela. Now, if you find this stuff interesting, if you could help support the channel, we need 6 more gifted memberships to reach the 40% of a normal night number. Not even that, 33%. And if not, that's cool too. So anyways, I got a, if you are interested, hey, look, we got Jim Lawn. He says, I would be interested to see if the website could track you accurately. I lived in 8 states. I can send you my info. What? I don't get it. But thanks. 5 more to go. Yeah, I mean, that's her right there. So DNA analysis. They probably had his DNA all the way back then. And the reason is because somebody found her so quickly, which is interesting. I mean, she wasn't there for 3 weeks. She was actually, he had her somewhere for 2. You know, it's weird too. So did he have her in California, right over here? In this house right there? And then eventually drove her up into Placer County and put her body right there? Pretty weird. I wasn't on a site, Jim. Oh, been verified. All right. Okay, let me try it. All right, I'll do it. I thought you were talking about the facial recognition. What state do you live in right now, Jim? I bet it's really accurate. What state do you live in? This thing is really accurate. Hey, thank you, Stephanie Davis. What state do you live in, Jim? Where I don't have a lot of time to keep waiting for you to type something in. Go ahead. Then why are you rooting for the Denver Nuggets? I like the Nuggets, though. I hate the San Antonio Spurs. I absolutely hate their guts. Whatever, their crowd, everything about them, I just can't stand. All right, let's see. What your middle initial? Oh, that's it? Okay, hold on. You said it. Where in what town in Florida? Forget it. You don't have to say your. How about how old are you? Are you 44 years old? Oh, because you lived in Denver. I see it. I got it. I got it all. This is you. You're 44, right? Yeah, I know. Yeah. I'm not even looking at your what you just typed in because I already saw it. All right, here we go. I'll tell you where you've lived. All right? You've lived in Naples, Florida, Denver, Colorado, Littletown, Colorado, Inglewood, Colorado, Fort Collins, Littleton, Colorado, a bunch of different times, Denver, Colorado, Rochester, Michigan, Lowell, Massachusetts, Naples, Florida, Inglewood, Colorado. Yeah, it's just got you all in here. I mean, it has your Facebook and everything. All right. Yeah, I'll go to your Facebook. Yeah, you got a picture of a guy, one of your top the photograph of a Philadelphia Eagle catching a football. Is that right? Pretty cool, huh? That's really accurate, this program. Now, do you want me to do your court records? Uh-oh, Jim. You just opened up a can of worms. Yeah, that's you. Yeah, it has everything. It's a pretty cool website. It's not as, it's not 100% every single time, but. All right, let's see. Court records. Here we go. Watch out, Kubi. We'll see what's going on in here. Yeah, you only got 3. Let's see. You had a swearing one time. Let's see. Way back in 2017, you had something. I'm not sure what menacing is, but that's one of yours. Yeah, it said something about like menacing. And then you had a swearing. You can't swear in public? Jeez. Public swearing, intoxication. And then, let's see. That's about it. Just 2 different ones. See? Absolutely normal. I just have a bunch of speeding tickets. Like when I was in Moscow, Idaho. Oh, is that what your neighbor? What did your neighbor do? Well, anyways, you guys, I think that's gonna do it. I was gonna do a cold case, but it's so late right now. It's probably 2 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast, and we got to. I don't know what you call it. We need 4. If we got 4 more gifted memberships, we'd reach the 40% mark. Who's going to do it? You guys can do it. No? Okay. Anyways, thanks for being here, you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. I can't see my viewer activity. It's dead. Oh, I can see it now. So thanks to Forgetful Mandy for gifting 5. Jim Lawn, Lisa Valenzuela, Jim Lawn, True Crime gifted 5. Kim from Rochester, then Lisa Valenzuela, Jim Lawn, and Stephanie Davis. Not a lot of people there supporting, but at least the ones that did, thank you very much. All right. As I always say, until next time, be safe out there.